Hello, my name is Marcos Gonzalez, and I will be presenting about medical ethics. When we look at the question raised in chapters 6 through 10, from the legalization of narcotics to ethics of cloning, each one ultimately asks the same thing. How do we value human life as created by God? These moral issues test not just our opinions, but our convictions about purpose and divine order. Let us start with chapter 6, legalizing narcotics. The question to ponder is, should society permit the recreational use of drugs if individuals have the right to choose what they do with their own bodies? From a Christian worldview, the answer begins with understanding freedom. Scripture says in 1 Corinthians 6:12, I have the right to do anything, but not everything is beneficial. I will not be mastered by anything. Freedom without discipline becomes slavery to desire. Legalizing narcotics might sound like protecting personal liberty, but it risks creating a culture enslaved by addiction. God calls us to steward our bodies as His temple, not to damage them for temporary pleasure. Ethically, Christians must consider not just the right to choose, but the responsibility to protect life, our own, and that not only our own, but that of others who may be harmed by those choices. Chapter 7, abortion poses one of the most emotionally charged ethical questions. Does a woman's right to choose outweigh the unborn child's right to life? As Christians, we believe life begins at conception because it is formed by the Creator Himself. Psalms 139, 13 through 16 says, You knit me together in my mother's womb. Every heartbeat, every breath, every soul carries divine purpose. While secular arguments emphasize autonomy and privacy, Christian ethics centers on stewardship. We don't own life, we manage it under God's authority. That said, compassion must walk hand in hand with conviction, supporting women through pregnancy, offering adoptions, and providing grace rather than condemnation. Condemnation reflects the heart of Christ, who both upheld truth and extend mercy. In chapter 8, euthanasia and physician-assisted suicide ask, is it ever moral to intentionally end one's own life to escape suffering? The question strikes deeply at human compassion. Watching someone suffer is heartbreaking, but Scripture reminds us in Ecclesiastes 3:2, there is a time to be born and a time to die, and those times belong to God. Ending life is to relieve pain places. Ending life to relieve pain places human judgment above divine sovereignty. Christian ethics preaches that suffering, while painful, can carry redemptive purpose, deepening faith and reminding us of our dependence on God. The moral task isn't to hasten death, but to dignify the dying through love and presence. Our calling to accompany others through the valley, not to determine when their journey ends. In chapter 9, organ transplantation presents a very different dilemma. Is it moral to use one person's organs to save another's life? Here, Scripture gives us a clear principle of sacrificial love. In John 15:13, Jesus says, Greater love has no one than this, to lay down one's life for one's friends. Donating an organ voluntarily, whether life or after death, is a profound expression of that love. But this must always remain voluntary. When organ donation becomes commercialized or coerced, it distorts the act from self-giving love into exploitation. Christian ethics upholds both generosity and justice. We give not to gain, but to glorify God through compassion. Finally, chapter 10, reproductive technology and human cloning asks, does advancing science give humans the right to recreate or redesign life? This is one of the most modern and complex moral frontiers. Technology now allows us to manipulate genetics, clone cells, and even engineer embryos. But Genesis 1:27 reminds us that humanity was created in the image of God. When science crosses from healing to creating life on our own terms, it risks replacing the creator with the created. That doesn't mean technology itself is evil. In fact, it can serve as an incredible tool for restoring life and family. But as Christians, our ethical filter must be this. Does the act honor the dignity of life and sovereignty of God? If not, restraint becomes the higher moral choice. When we step back and look at all 5 of these ethical questions, addiction, abortion, assisted death, organ donation, and cloning, a single truth emerges. Life belongs to God. Christian ethics isn't about control or moral superiority. It's about submission, recognizing that every choice we make should reflect God's love, wisdom, and respect for His creation. True morality isn't found in doing what feels right, but in doing what aligns with what is right, as revealed by the one who gave us life, its meaning in the first place.